But it takes a lot to want to help everybody, and then when they don't want to help themselves, it's like, God, it's heartbreaking. You know, so I'm in a good space. I'm in a good space right now. Everything's sitting up. That's why I stay exactly space.
Well, that's really great to hear. I'm excited to hear that. I'm so proud of what you're doing. And I'm really glad to hear that you're doing so well. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
One of it's to be positive.
Good.
Okay.
All right, sir. Sounds great.
So,
All right. Catch you later, man. All right. Bye-bye. Um.
So you guys basically make me go online on this video, which is not something I really want to do. But sometimes I'm wondering why I woke up in Twilight Zone. So what you heard right now, a few minutes ago, if you heard it, was amazing results. And what you're hearing a lot is bullshit, basically. Yeah, out there, people promising hope and giving hype. So I'm going to cover a lot of stuff right here that's going to offend a lot of you guys. And honestly, I'm offended you're offended, so you can just honestly go screw yourself. So, because honestly, if you are offended, gosh, get prepared because it's going to get better. So, first of all, number one is, Republicans, you guys are talking about, abortion and all that stuff. Why are you guys not talking about Netanyahu killing all, murdering children and families and women in a zest for revenge? That it's very core is murder, wiping out genocide, and yet you're sitting back and not doing anything, and yet that's why I'm convinced some days I'm just here for the popcorn. The reality is what you're doing is not actually effective. You spend a lot of money with these nonprofits. You're making all this money on the backs of good people. So the reality is today's a different change. Today's Giving Tuesday. You give it to the wrong people. No more nonprofits. Start making actually your own independent decisions by actually asking questions. So, give you an idea. Ronald Reagan is probably one of our best, just our most amazing presidents ever, and yet the reality is you know, I guess the easiest way to say is you don't give tariffs to prove a point. Trump it's a joke. And the reality is one of the worst mistakes anybody can do is bet against the Americans. And what you do is he's doing everything that. And so, one of the things I'll tell you right now, on his speech that he gave, and it was Thanksgiving Day, I think in 1988, and what it was he wrote, "My fellow Americans, this week as we prepare for Thanksgiving, Canada held an important election, and I'm pleased to again send my congratulations to Prime Minister Mulroney. One of the most important issues in the Canadian election was trade. And like our own citizens earlier this month, our neighbors have sent a strong message rejecting protectionism and reaffirming that more trade, not less, is the way of the future. Here in America, as we reflect on the many things we have to be grateful for, we should take a moment to recognize that one of the key factors behind our nation's great prosperity is the open trade policy that allows the American people to freely exchange goods and services with free people around the world. The freedom to trade is now a new issue for America. In 1776, our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, charging the British with a number of offenses, among them, and I quote, cutting off the trade for all parts of the world, end quote. And that same year, a Scottish economist named Adam Smith launched another revolution with a book called The Wealth of Nations, which exposed for the first time the full folly of protectionism. Over the past 200 years, not only has the argument against tariffs and trade barriers won nearly every universal agreement among economists, but it's also proved itself in the real world, where we've seen free trade and nations prosper where protectionism countries fall behind. America's most recent experiment with the protectionism was a disaster for the working man and woman of this country. When Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley Act in 1930, we were told that it would protect Americans from foreign companies and save jobs in the country. The same line we hear today. The same result was the Great Depression, the worst economic catastrophe in our history. 1 out of 4 Americans were thrown out of work. 2 years later, when I cast my first ballot to be president, I voted for Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who opposed protectionism and called for the repeal of that disastrous tariff. Ever since that time, the American people have stayed true to our heritage, rejecting the tyrant song of protectionism. In recent years, the trade deficit led some misguided politicians to call for protectionism, warning that others would lose their jobs. But they were wrong again. In fact, the United States not only didn't lose jobs, it created more jobs than all countries in Western Europe, Canada, and Japan combined. The record is clear that when Americans' total trade has increased, American jobs have also increased. And when our total trade has declined, so has that number of jobs. Part of the difficulty in accepting the good news about trade is our words. We often, too, talk about trade while using the vocabulary of war. In war, for one side to win, the other must lose. But commerce is not welfare. Trade is an economic alliance to benefit both countries. There's no losers, only winners. And trade helps others strengthen the French world. Yet today, protectionism is being used by some American politicians as a cheap form of nationalism, a fig leaf for those who are unwilling to maintain American military strength and who lack the resolve to stand up for real enemies, countries that would use violence against our allies. Our peaceful trade partners are not enemies, they are allies. We should be aware of demagogues who are ready to declare war against our friends, weakening our economy, our national security, and the entire free world, and all while cynically waving the American flag. The expansion of the international economy is not a foreign invasion, it's an American triumph, one we worked hard to achieve, and something essential to our vision of a peaceful and prosperous world of freedom. After the Second World War, America led the way to dismantle trade barriers and create a world trading system that set the stage for decades of unparalleled economic growth. And in 1 week, when important multinational trade talks are held in Montreal, we'll be at the forefront of efforts to improve that system. We want to open more markets and our products to see that all nations play by the rules and to seek improvement in such areas as dispute resolution, agriculture. We also want to bring the benefits of free trade to new areas, including services, investments, and the protection of intellectual property. Our negotiators will be working on hard for us. Yet back in 1776, our founding fathers believed that free trade is worth fighting for. And we can celebrate their victory today because trade is the core of our alliance that secures the peace and guarantee our freedom. It is the source of our prosperity and the path to an even brighter future. And as he says, of course, next week, thanks for listening, and God bless you. The reality is this keeps on happening, and it's recycling the old kind of he said, she said, and that's punish people. It's never working. And the reality is you guys are playing for a lot of problems. So, start doing your research and do education. So the next couple of days, I'm going to be giving you a re-education on everything. Because honestly, I created the Blue Chew brand, and it's the We Believe one. The things you guys believe is nothing. And on that second path, let's talk about the Jeffrey Epstein files. There's nothing in that file. There's nothing going on. Okay, the reality is go back, this, mind you, 10 years ago, right, when there was a settlement, okay, there's all the documents are on there. When you have all these weak women, okay, they actually hurt the actual woman who actually hurt, right? Those women weren't hurt. They're protectionism. And when you're standing up on TV with, we want the files to be released so we know what happened, you should know what happened. They should be your stories. The reality is you don't know the stories because you don't have any, okay? And you politicians are basically politicizing all this stuff. That young lady was not only 17, right? She was actually homeless before that. What nonprofit, okay, think about this. She created a nonprofit. What could we as Americans, or even the King of England, right, done any different to change that situation? Okay, it was her own family's thing, had nothing to do with Prince Andrew. And yet the reality is, at the end of the day, guess what? You need to be accountable for your own actions. Let's get away from the whole victim mentality. You guys need to grow up, okay? You guys are basically thinking you're Barbie and Ken, and I got a secret for you. Barbie gets knocked up on prom night, right? And she ruins Ken, and so he ends up drinking later on and dies from alcoholism, okay? And the kids end up getting they fucked up. So the reality is this. Republicans, all you're doing is talking, and you're not doing anything. Democrats, you're not doing anything besides talking and destroying. Neither one of you guys are meeting in the middle like a marriage and going forward, okay? The reality is the key to everything is moderation. And yet, I'm going to have to eventually purposely offend you guys because political correctness is honestly mental health issues, right? Now, in regards to the homeless are the closest there is to God, okay? When you say every one of them are mentally ill and drugs, the reality is what drugs are you talking about? Your drugs are our drugs, right? Because the reality is the lotion is drug. And yet, be wary of your power of your words. when you go on TV and say every homeless person out there is a criminal or they're on drugs or mentally ill, you're making them mentally ill. Okay, the reality is you're basically slandering people and have no idea what you're talking about, and yet that's why I'm totally convinced that the university has been playing jokes on me. The last 3 years has been a mess, but all because of my actual faith. If I go forward, and today ends today, all right? What I do with no money is what you guys have been wasting with all this money. And what happens is you guys want to give people housing, which isn't even happening, right? But the reality is you need life skills, you need basic skills, you basically re-educate everybody. So the reality is I have only a few more minutes to finish this up, but I'm going to be doing these this afternoon. And honestly, I'm just fed up with being fed up. And the reality is if you guys stop talking so much and actually do something, it'll actually work out okay. Because your words have meanings, but if you haven't actually experienced that, stop talking about it, okay? Because your words have no meaning if you have no experience in it. We have the biggest artificial intelligence problem in this United States, and that's people talking who have no actual experience in life, okay? The fact that you actually get a book education doesn't mean that you get a life education. Live life education is more important than anything. And I gotta be honest with you, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you've eaten government cheese, you're the same damn race, okay? So let's stop worrying about basically he said, she said. And before you start actually criticizing somebody else, create something besides noise. So God bless you. I'm telling you ahead of time, be prepared. If you're offended, trust me, it's going to get worse, okay? But I do this in love, and I do this because honestly, I'm just fed up of being fed up. And honestly, somebody has to stand up to them. During the holiday right now, the stuff that you guys are doing is ridiculous. This immigration situation, you don't realize, this used to be Mexico. This used to be Mexico. We don't have these issues here. That's east of Mississippi shit, right? Not west of Mississippi shit. Reality is we have a situation in this country where you're building everything on image and debt. We need to work on savings and prosperity. Stop worrying about marrying a rich man. Marry a poor man and make him rich. So with that, I love you, Shannon. If you're out there, bless your heart. Will you put me on this journey? Reach out to me, hey, because I need you. But the reality is guess what? I'm going forward no matter what. Anybody knows my wife, tell her, happy birthday this month. God bless you guys. I'll see you. With that, raw, uncensored. I'm not cutting it. Have a good one.